Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapatakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Kopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणि निर्विशेष शून्यवारि पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वाकता कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनारित्यन्तस्तोय भद्राणि वितुनोति सुहृत्सतम् नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, iPhone Prabhu Dandar Pranam Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. Is this Pranjal Prabhu? Text number 13, chapter, what is this? 2.8.13. कालस्यानुगतिर्यातु लक्ष्यतेऽन्विभ्रत्यपि यावद्यः कर्मगतयो युदृशि द्विजसत्तमा कालस्य of the eternal time anugati beginning yatu as they are lakshate experienced anvi small brihati great api even yavatya as long as karmagataya in terms of the work performed yadrishi as it may dvija sattama o purest of all brahmanas Translation. O purest of the Brahmanas, please also explain the cause of the different durations of time, both short and long, as well as the beginning of time, following the course of action. Text number 14. Yasmin karma samavayo yatha yeno pagrihyate gunanam guninam chaiva parinamam abhipshatam. Yasmin, in which karma actions, samavaya accumulation, yatha as far as, yena by which, upagrihyate takes over, gunanam of different modes of material nature, guninam of the living beings, cha also, eva certainly, parinamam resultant, abhipsatam of the desires. Translation. Then again, kindly describe how the proportionate accumulation of the resultant actions of the different modes of material nature act upon the desiring living being, promoting or degrading him among the different species of life, beginning from the demigods down to the most insignificant creatures. Purport. The actions and reactions of all works in the material modes of nature, either in the minute form or in the gigantic form, are accumulated, and thus the result of such accumulated actions and reactions of karma or work become manifested in the same proportion. How such actions and reactions take place, what are the different procedures, and what proportion they act are all the subject matter of Maharaj Parikshit's inquiries from the great Brahmana Sukadev Goswami. Life in the higher planets, known as the abode of the denizens of heaven, is obtained not by the strength of spacecraft, as now being contemplated by the inexperienced scientist, but by works done in the mode of goodness. There is even restriction on the very planet where we are now living for an entrance of foreigners to a country where the citizens are more prosperous. For example, the American government has many restrictions for entrance for foreigners from less prosperous countries. The reason is that the Americans do not wish to share their prosperity with any foreigner who has not qualified himself as a citizen of America. Similarly, the same mentality is prevailing in every other planet also, where there are more and more intelligent living beings residing. The higher planetary living conditions are all in the modes of goodness, and anyone desiring to enter the higher planets like the Moon, Sun, Venus, must qualify truly by activity in complete goodness. Maharaj Parikshit's inquiries are on the basis of proportionate actions on goodness which qualify one in this planet to be promoted to the highest regions of the universe. Even on this planet of our present residence, no one can achieve a good position with the social order without being qualified with proportionate good work. No one can forcibly sit on the chair of a high court judge without being qualified for the post. Similarly, no one can enter into the higher regions of the planetary system without being qualified by good works in this life. Persons addicted to the habits of passion and ignorance have no chance of entering the higher planetary system simply by an electronic mechanism. According to the statements of the Bhagavad Gita 9.25, persons trying to qualify themselves for a promotion to the higher regions of heavenly planets can go there. Similarly, persons trying for the Pitralokas can go there. Similarly, persons trying to improve the conditions on this earth can also do that. And persons who are engaged in going back home, back to Godhead, can also achieve the result. These various actions and reactions of work in the mode of goodness are generally known as pious work with devotional service, culture of knowledge with devotional service, mystic powers with devotional service, and at last, devotional service unmixed with any other varieties of goodness. Hmm. This unmixed devotional service is transcendental and is called the Para Bhakti, which alone can promote a person to the transcendental kingdom of God. Such a transcendental kingdom is not a myth, but it is as factual as the moon planet. It is as factual as the moon planet. It requires the transcendental qualities to understand the kingdom of God and God Himself. Haribol. Praveen Prabhu, are you there? Text number 15. भू भूपातालककूप्व्योमा ग्रहा नक्षत्रभूपृतां सरित्समुद्रद्वीपानां सम्भवश्चैतदोकासाम् Bhupata, Bhupatala, underneath the land, Kakub, four sides of the heavens, Vyoma, the sky, Graha, the planets, Nakshatra, the stars, Bhupritam, of the hills, Sarit, the river, Samudra, the sea, Dvipanam, of the islands, Sambhava, appearance, Cha, also, Etat, there, Okasam, of the inhabitants. Translation. O best of the Brahmanas, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as their different kinds of inhabitants take place. Purport. The inhabitants of different varieties of land, etc., are differently situated, and not all of them are equal in all respects. The inhabitants of the land are different from the inhabitants of the water or the sky, and similarly, the inhabitants of the different planets and stars in the sky are also different from one another. No place is vacant by the loves of the Lord, but the creatures of one particular place are different from others. Even in the human society, the inhabitants of the jungles or those of the desert are different from those of the cities and villages. They are so made according to different qualities of the modes of nature. Such adjustment of the laws of nature is not blind. There is a great plan behind the arrangement. Maharaj Pariksit requests the great sage Sukadev Goswami to explain all this authoritatively in accordance with proper understanding. Pranamam Pramanam Andakoshasya Bahyabhyantara Mahadam Chanucharitam Varnashrama Vinishchaya Pramanam extent and measurement Andakoshasya of the universe Bahya outer space Abhyantara inner space Pedataha by divisions of Mahatam of great soul Sha also Anucharitam characters and activities Varna, castes, ashrama, orders of life, Finishchaya, especially describe. Translation. Also, please describe the inner and outer space of the universe by specific divisions, as well as the character and activities of the great souls, and also the characteristics of different classifications of the caste and orders of social life. Purport. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical devotee of Lord Krishna, and as such, he is anxious to know the complete significance of the creation of the Lord. He wants to know the inner and outer space of the universal form. It is quite fitting for the real searcher of knowledge to know all about this. Those who are out of option, that the devotees of the Lord are satisfied with some sentiments only, can find good lessons in the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit as to how much a pure devotee is inquisitive to know things in their true perfection. The modern scientist is unable to know about the inner space of the universal horizon, and what to speak of the space which covers the universes. Maharaj Parikshit is not simply satisfied with material knowledge only. He is inquisitive about the characters and activities of the great souls or devotees of the Lord. The glories of the Lord and the glories of his devotees combined together comprise the complete knowledge of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Lord Krishna showed his mother the complete universal creation within his mouth, while she, completely charmed by her son, wanted to see the inner mouth of the Lord just to see how much earth the child had eaten. By the grace of the Lord, the devotees are able to see everything in the universe within the mouth of the Lord. The very idea of scientific divisions of four classes of human society and four orders of life is also inquired about herewith on the basis of individual personal quality. The four divisions are exactly like the four divisions of one's personal body. The parts and parcels of the body are non different from the body, but by themselves they are only parts and parcels of the body. That is the significance of the whole scientific system of four orders of caste and social orders. The value of such scientific division of human society can only be ascertained in terms of the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord. Any person employed in the government service is a part and parcel of the entire government, including the president. Everyone is a government servant, but no one is the government himself. That is the position of all living entities in the government of the Supreme Lord. No one can artificially claim to the supreme position of the Lord, but everyone is meant to serve the purpose of the supreme whole. Ribol. Who wants to read next?
I'm back now. So,
Yes, sir.
how many verses have been covered so far?
I think 3.
Okay.
Question about time, question about Varnashrama. The first I don't remember. This is about, space. Question about space, Varnashrama, and time.
Okay. Time space for master. Okay. Text 17, I think. 17, yeah. युगानि युगमानं च धर्मो यश्च युगे युगे अवतारानुचरितं यदा यदाश्चर्यतमं हरेः synonyms yugani the different ages yugamanam the duration of each age cha as well as dharmaha the particular occupational duty yascha and which yuge yuge in each and every yuga or particular age avatara the incarnation anucharitam and the activities of the incarnation yat which ascharyatamam the most wonderful activities Hare of the Supreme Lord. Translation purport by His Divine Grace S. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Please explain all the different ages in the duration of the creation and also the duration of such ages. Also, tell me about the different activities of the different incarnations of the Lord in different ages. Purport. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all the incarnations of the Supreme Lord, although non-different from him, are emanations from the Supreme. Maharaj Parikshit inquires from the great learned sage Sukadev Goswami about the different activities of such incarnations so that the incarnation of the Lord may be confirmed by his activities in the authoritative scriptures. Maharaj Parikshit is not to be carried away by the sentiments of the common man to accept an incarnation of the Lord very cheaply. Instead, he wished to accept the incarnation of the Lord by symptoms mentioned in the Vedic literatures and confirmed by an Acharya like Sukadeva Goswami. The Lord descends by his internal potency, maybe. Please go down, Prabhu. Internal energy without any obligation to the laws of material nature, and thus his activities are also uncommon. The specific activities of the Lord are mentioned, and one should know that the activities of the Lord and the Lord are identical due to being on the absolute plane. Thus, to hear the activities of the Lord means to associate with the Lord directly, and association of the Lord directly means purification from material contamination. We have already discussed this point in the first volume. Text 18. Nunam sadharano dharmaha savisesha yadrisaha श्रेणीनां राजसीनां च धर्मः कृच्छ्रेषु जीवताम् synonyms Pranam of human society sadharanaha general dharmaha religious affiliation. Sa Visheshaha, specific. Cha, also. Yadrishaha. So can you, yeah, as they are. Shrininam, Sreninam, of the particular three classes. Rajarshinam, of the saintly royal order. Cha, also. Dharmaha, occupational duty. Krichareshu, in the matter of distressed conditions. Jivatam, of the living beings. Translation. Please also explain what may be generally be the common religious affiliations of human society as well as their specific occupational duties in religion, the classification of the social orders as well as the administrative royal orders, and the religious principles for one who may be in the distressed condition of life. Purport. The common religion of all classes of human beings, regardless of whosoever and whatsoever one may be, is devotional service. Even the animals may be included in devotional service to the Lord, and the best example is set by Sri Bajrangaji or Hanuman. Bajrangaji. Okay. So Sri Bajrangaji or Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Sri Rama. As we have already discussed, even the aborigines and cannibals can also be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord if they happen to be under the guidance of a genuine devotee of the Lord. In the Skanda Purana, there is a narration that a hunter in the jungle became the most enlightened devotee of the Lord by the guidance of Sri Narada Muni. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord can be equally shared by every living being. Religious affiliation in terms of different countries and cultural circumstances is obviously not the common religion of the human being, but the basic principle is devotional service. Even if a particular type of religious principles does not recognize the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the followers still have to obey the disciplinary principles disciplinary principles laid down by a particular leader. Such a leader of a religious sect is never the supreme leader because such a circumstantial leader comes to the position of leadership after undergoing some penance. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not, however, require to be under disciplinary action to become leader, as we see in the activities of Lord Krishna. The occupational duties of the caste and the orders of society, following the principles of livelihood, also depend on the principle of devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a person can achieve the highest perfection of life simply by avoiding the results of one's occupational duty unto the devotional service of the Lord. People following the principles of devotional service of the Lord can never be put into difficulty, and thus there cannot be any question of apadharma or religion in distress. As will be explained in this book by the greatest authority, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, there is no religion save and except the devotional service of the Lord, though this may be presented in different forms. There is no religion save and except the devotional service of the Lord, though this may be presented in different forms. What does it mean? There is no religion save. What is that word save? What is it doing there?
Oh, this means that there is no that the all religions are actually the part of Vaishnavism. If you have a religion, that means it's serving the Lord. Religion itself means that.
But he,
There cannot be religion which is something else than serving the Lord, because religion itself means serving the Lord. So
okay.
every religion is part of. There is no religion other than devotional service. So every religion must be part of devotional service. Otherwise, it's something else than religion.
No, instead of the word save, it shouldn't it be safe? There
No,
is
this
no
is
religion.
saying. This is like saying. This is
Oh,
saying
okay,
this means
okay.
no other than.
Okay, it's an idiom maybe.
Yes,
See,
Prabhu.
okay, okay, okay. I got it.
Let's
Yeah.
see what Google says for the.
Yes, yes. Let me do it. Oh, it must be an idiom.
Yes, Prabhu.
Save and accept. Okay. General statement or action is true or applies to everything. Okay, okay, okay. Got it. Hmm. Okay. Text 19. Tatvanam Parishankyanam Lakshanam Hetu Lakshanam Purusharadhana Vidhir Yogasyadhyatmika Kasya cha synonyms. Tatvanam Nam of the elements that constitute the creation. Parishankyanam of the number of such elements. Lakshanam symptoms. Hetu Lakshanam the symptoms of the causes. Purusha complete. Aradhana devotional service. Viddihi rules and regulations. Yogasya cultivation of the yoga system. Adhyatmika kasya spiritual methods leading to devotional service. Cha also. Translation. Kindly explain all about the elementary principles of creation, the number of such elementary principles, their causes and their development, and also the process of devotional service and the method of mystic powers. Text 20. Yogeshwaraishwarya gatir linga bhangastu yogi nam वेदोपवेद धर्माणाम इतिहास पुराणयोः synonyms Yogeshwara the master of the mystic powers Aishwarya opulence Gatihi advancement Linga astral body Bhangaha detachment to but Yoginam of the mystics Veda transcendental knowledge Upaveda knowledge in pursuance of the Veda indirectly Dharmanam of the religiosities Itihasa history Puranayoh of the Puranas. Translation. What are the opulences of the great mystics and what is their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and the supplementary Puranas? Purport. The Yogeshwara or the master of mystic powers can exhibit eight kinds of wonders of perfection by becoming smaller than the atom or lighter than a feather, getting anything and everything he desires, going anywhere and everywhere he likes, creating even a planet in the sky, etc. There are many Yogeswaras having different proficiencies in these wonderful powers, and the topmost of all of them is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the greatest yogi, and he can perform such wonderful things far beyond the ordinary living beings. The devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, do not directly practice the process of mystic powers, but by the grace of the Lord, his devotee can defeat even a great Yogeshwara like Durvasa Muni, who picked up a quarrel with Maharaja Ambarisha and wanted to show the wonderful achievements of his mystic powers. Maharaj Ambarisha was a pure devotee of the Lord, and thus, without any effort on his part, the Lord saved him from the wrath of Yogeshwara Durvasa Muni, and the latter was obliged to beg pardon from the king. Similarly, at the time of Draupadi's precarious position, when she was attacked by the Kurus who wanted to see her naked in the open assembly of the royal order, the Lord saved her from being stripped by by supplying an unlimited length of sari to cover her. And Draupadi knew nothing of mystic powers. Therefore, the devotees are also Yogeshwara by the unlimited power of the Lord, just as a child is powerful by the strength of the parents. They don't try to protect themselves by any artificial means, but are saved by the mercy of the parents. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the learned Brahmana Sukadeva Goswami. Scroll down, Prabhu, please. Uh, Sukadeva Goswami about the ultimate destination of such great mystics or how they attain such extraordinary powers by their own efforts or by the grace of the Lord. He inquired also about their detachment from the subtle and gross material bodies. He inquired also about the purports of the Vedic knowledge, and as is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the whole purport of all the Vedas is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become a transcendental loving servant of the Lord. Text 21. संप्लवः सर्वभूतानां विक्रमः परितिशं प्रतिसंक्रमः इष्टापूर्तस्य काम्यानां त्रिवर्गस्य च यो विधिः. Come on, bro. Synonyms. Samplavaha, the perfect means or complete devastation. Sarva Bhutanam, of all living beings. Vikramaha, specific power or situation. Pratishankramaha, ultimate destruction. Ishta, performance of Vedic rituals. Purtasya, pious acts in terms of religion. Kamaya Nam, rituals for economic development. Trivargasya, the three means of religion, economic development, and sense satisfaction. Cha, also Yaha, whatsoever, Vidhi, procedures. Vidhi, procedures. Translation. Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, how they are maintained, and how they are annihilated. Tell me also of the advanced advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotion service unto the Lord. Really? Are there any disadvantages as well? What are the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the supplementary Vedic rites? And what are the procedures of religion, economic development, and sense satisfaction? Purport. Samplavaha, in the sense of perfect means, is employed to denote the discharging of devotional service, and Pratisamplavaha means just the opposite or that which destroys the progress of devotional service. One who is firmly situated in devotional service of the Lord can very easily execute the function of conditional life. Living the conditional life is just like flying a boat in the middle of the ocean. One is completely at the mercy of the ocean, and at every moment there is every chance of being drowned in the ocean by slight agitation. If the atmosphere is all right, the boat can fly very easily, undoubtedly, but if there is some storm, fog, wind, or cloud, there is every possibility of being drowned in the ocean. No one can control the whims of the ocean. However, one may be materially well equipped. One who has crossed the oceans by ship may have sufficient experience of such dependence upon the mercy of the ocean. But one can fly over the ocean of material existence by the grace of the Lord very easily without any fear of storm or fog. It all depends on the will of the Lord. No one can help if there is some unfortunate danger in the state of conditional life. The devotees of the Lord, however, cross the ocean of material existence without anxiety because a pure devotee is always protected by the Lord, as said in the Bhagavad Gita 9:13. The Lord gives special attention to his devotees in their activities within material conditional life. 9:29. Therefore, everyone should take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and be a pure devotee of the Lord by all means. One should know, therefore, from the expert spiritual master the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service, just as Maharaj Parikshit asked his spiritual master Srila Sukadeva Goswami. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the science of devotional service, one should not eat more than what he requires to maintain body and soul together. Vegetables diets, vegetable diets and milk are sufficient for maintenance of the human body, and therefore one has no need to eat anything more to satisfy the palate. One should also not accumulate money to become puffed up in the material world. One should earn his livelihood easily and honestly, for it is better to become a coolie for an honest livelihood than to become a great man in the society by hook and crook. There is no harm if one becomes the richest man in the world by honest dealings. But one should not sacrifice the honest means of livelihood simply to accumulate wealth. Such an endeavor is harmful to devotional service. One should not talk nonsense. A devotee's business is to earn the favor of the Lord. Therefore, a devotee should always glorify the Lord in his wonderful creations. A devotee should not decry the creation of the Lord, defying him by saying that he has created a false world. The world is not false. Actually, we have to take so many things from the world for our maintenance. So, how we can say that the world is false? Similarly, how can one think of the Lord as being without form? How can one become formless and at the same time have an all intelligence and consciousness, direct and indirect? So, there are many things for a pure devotee to learn, and he should learn them perfectly from a bona fide personality like Sukadeva Goswami. The favorable conditions for discharging devotional service are that one should be very enthusiastic in serving the Lord. The Lord, in his form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wanted the cult of devotional service to the Lord to be preached all over the world in every nook and corner. And therefore, a pure devotee's duty is to discharge this order as far as possible. Every devotee should be very enthusiastic, not only in performing his daily rituals of devotional service, but in trying to preach the cult peacefully by following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. If he is not superficially successful in such an attempt, he should not be come down, bro. He should not be deterred from the discharge of his duty. Success or failure has no meaning for a pure devotee because he is a soldier in the field. Preaching the cult of devotional service is something like declaring war against materialistic life. There are different kinds of materialists, such as the fruity workers, the mental speculators, the mystic jugglers, and so many others. All of them are against the existence of Godhead. They would declare that they are themselves God, although in every step and in every action they are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Scroll down over. Therefore, a pure devotee may not associate with such gangs of atheists. A strong duty of the Lord will not be misled by such atheistic propaganda of the non devotees, but a neophyte devotee should be very cautious about them. A devotee should see to the right discharge of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master and should not stick only to the formalities. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one should see how much service is being executed and not simply in the matter of rituals. A devotee should not hanker after anything, but he should be satisfied with things that may automatically come to him by the will of the Lord. That should be the principle of a devotional service. And all these principles are easily learned under the guidance of a spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva correctly, and one should follow his example. Maharaj Parikshit inquired about the process of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world, the process of Vedic rituals, and the method of executing pious activities in terms of the supplementary Vedas like the Puranas, Mahabharata, etc. As explained before, the Mahabharata is the history of ancient India, and so also the Puranas. Pious acts are prescribed in the supplementary Vedas, Smritis. And they are specifically mentioned in the matter of digging tanks and wells for the water supply of the people in general, to implant trees on the public roads, to construct public temples and places of worship of God, to establish places of charity where the poor destitutes can be provided with foodstuff, and similar activities are called porta. Similarly, the process of fulfilling the natural desires of sense gratification was also inquired about by the king for the benefit of all concerned. Text 22. Yovanus Sai Nam Sargaha पाषण्डस्य च सम्भवः आत्मनो बन्धमोक्षौ च व्यवस्थानं स्वरूपतः. Synonyms. Yaha, all those. Va, either. Anushasinam, merged into the body of the Lord. Sargaha, creation. Pashandasya, of the infidels. Cha, and Sambhavaha, appearance. Atmanaha, of the living beings. Bandha, conditioned. Mokshau, being liberated. Cha, also. Vyavasthanam, being situated. Swarupataha, in an unconditioned state. Translation. Please also explain how, merged in the body of the Lord, living beings are created and how the infidels appear in the world. Also, please explain how the unconditional living entities exist. Purport. The progressive devotee of the Lord must inquire from the bona fide spiritual master how living entities merged in the body of the Lord again come back at the time of creation. There are two kinds of living entities. There are the ever liberated, unconditioned living beings as well as the ever conditioned living beings. Of the ever conditioned living beings, there are two divisions. They are the faithful and the infidels. Of the faithful, there are again two divisions, namely the devotees and the mental speculators. The mental speculators desire to merge into the existence of the Lord or to become one with the Lord, whereas the devotees of the Lord desire to keep separate identities and constantly engage in the service of the Lord. The devotees who are not fully purified, as well as the empiric philosophers, become conditioned again during the next creation for further purification. Such conditioned souls become liberated by further progress of devotion service to the Lord. Maharaj Parikshit asked all these questions from the bona fide spiritual master in order to become fully equipped in the science of good, in the science of God. Text 23. यथात्म तंत्रो भगवान विक्रीडयत्यात्म मायया विसृज्य वा यथा मायाम उदास्ते साक्षिवद विभुः. Synonyms. Yatha, yes. Atma Tantriyaha, independent. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Vikridati, enjoys his pastimes. Atma Mayaya, by his internal potency. Visrijya, giving up. Va, as also. Yatha, as he desires. Maya, the external potency. Udaste, remains. Sakshivat, just as the witness, Vibhu, the Almighty. Translation. The independent personality of Godhead enjoys his pastimes by his internal potency, and at the time of annihilation gives them up to the external potency, and he remains a witness to it all. Purport. Lord Krishna, being the supreme personality of Godhead and fountainhead of all other incarnations, is the only independent person. He enjoys his pastimes by creation as he desires and gives them up to the external energy at the time of annihilation. By his internal potency only, he kills the demon Potana, even though enjoying his pastimes in the lap of his mother Yashoda. And when he desires to leave this world, he created the pastimes of killing his own family members Yadukula and remained unaffected by such annihilation. He is the witness of everything that is happening, and yet he has nothing to do with anything. He is independent in every respect. Maharaj Parikshit desired to know more perfectly, for a pure devotee ought to know well. Text 24. Dheeraj Prabhu wants to read the next one, maybe.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Please accept my humble obeisance. Sorry, Prabhupada. Text 24. Just a moment. Yeah. सर्वमेतच्च भगवान् पृच्छतो मेनुपूर्वशः तत्त्वतोर्हयस् तत्त्वतोर्हस् उदाहर्तुं प्रपन्नाय महामुने. Synonyms: Sarvam, all this; etat, inquiries; cha, also that I have not been able to ask; Bhagwan, O great sage; Prichatha, of the inquisitive; me, myself; Anupurvasha, from the beginning; Tatvatah, just in accordance with the truth; Arhasi, may kindly be explained; Udahartum, as you will let know; Prapannaya, one who is surrounded; Mahamune, O great sage. Translation: O great sage, representative of the Lord, kindly satisfy my inquisitiveness in all that I have inquired from you, and all that I may not have, and all that may, and all that I may not have, I have inquired from you from the very beginning of my questionings. Since I am a surrendered soul unto you, please impart full knowledge in this connection. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, and specifically when the disciple is very inquisitive, inquisitiveness on the part of a disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical disciple because he is perfectly inquisitive. If one is not very inquisitive about self realization, one need not approach a spiritual master simply to make a show of discipleship. Maharaj Parikshit is inquisitive, not only for all that he has inquired, but he is also anxious to know what he has not been able to inquire. Factually, it is not possible for a man to inquire about everything from the spiritual master, but the bona fide spiritual master is able to enlighten the disciple in every way for the disciple's benefit. Krishna. Text 25. अत्र प्रमाणां हि भवान् परमेष्टि यथात्मभू अपरे चानुतिष्ठन्ति पूर्वेशं पूर्वैजकृतम्. Synonyms: Atra, in this matter; Pramanam, evidential facts; He, certainly; Bhavan, yourself; Parameshti, Brahma, the creator of the universe; Yatha, as; Atmabhu, born directly from the Lord; Apare, others; Cha, only; Anutishtanti, just to follow; Purvesham, as a matter of custom; Purvajay, knowledge suggested by a previous philosopher; Kritam, having been done. Translation: O great sage, you are as good as Brahma, the original supreme being. Others follow customs only, as followed by the previous philosophical speculators. Purport: it may be argued that Sukadev Goswami is not the only authority of perfect knowledge in transcendence, because there are many other sages and their followers. Contemporary to Vyasadeva, or even prior to him, there were many other great sages, such as Gautama, Kanad, Jaimini, Kapila, and Ashtavakra, and all of them have presented a philosophical path by themselves. Patanjali is also one of them, and all these six rishis have their own way of thinking, exactly like the modern philosophers and mental speculators. The difference between the six philosophical paths put forward by the renowned sages above mentioned and that of Sukadev Goswami as prescribed in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is that all the six sages mentioned above speak the facts according to their own thinking. But Sukadev Goswami presents the knowledge which comes down directly from Brahmaji, who is known as Atmabhu, or born of and educated by the Almighty Personality of Godhead. Vedic transcendental knowledge descends directly from the personality of Godhead. By his mercy, Brahma, the first living being in the universe, was enlightened. And from Brahmaji, Narad was enlightened. And from Narad, Vyas was enlightened. Sukadev Goswami received such transcendental knowledge directly from his father Vyasadev. Thus, the knowledge being received from the chain of disciplic succession is perfect. One cannot be a spiritual master in perfection unless and until one has received the same by disciplic succession. That is the secret of receiving transcendental knowledge. The six great sages mentioned above may be great thinkers, but their knowledge by mental speculation is not perfect. However perfect an empiric philosopher may be in presenting a philosophical thesis, such knowledge is never perfect because it is produced by an imperfect mind. Such great sages also have their disciplic succession, but they are not authorized because such knowledge does not come directly from the independent Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. No one can be independent except Narayan. Therefore, no one's knowledge can be perfect due to being dependent on the flickering mind. Mind is material, and thus knowledge presented by material speculators is never transcendental and can never become perfect. Mundane philosophers, being imperfect in themselves, disagree with all other philosophers because a mundane philosopher is not a philosopher at all unless he presents his own theory. Intelligent persons like Maharaj Parikshit do not recognize such mental speculators, however great they may be, but hear from the authorities like Sukadev Goswami, who is non different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the Parampara system, as is specifically stressed in Bhagavad Gita. Text 26. Name savha parayanti brahman anasanayadami pibato chutta piyusham tad vakyabhi vinishritam. Synonyms: na, never; may, mine; asavah, life; parayanti, becomes exhausted; brahman, O learned brahmana; anasanat, ami, because of fasting; pibata, because of my drinking; achyuta, the infallible; piyusham, the nectar; tat, your; vakyabhi, ocean of speech; vinishritam, flowing down from. Translation: O learned Brahmana, because of my drinking the nectar of the message of the infallible personality of Godhead, which is flowing down from the ocean of your speeches, I do not feel any sort of exhaustion due to my fasting. So it seems Maharaj Parikshit was fasting also all the 7 days.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, obviously he was fasting and he did not sleep either
Yeah,
because he had left with no time at all. There were only 7 days and he had to complete all the entire Bhagavatam, and then he had to prepare for the death as well, finally.
yeah, okay. But the disciplic succession from Brahma, Narad, Vyas, and Sukadev Goswami is particularly different from others. The disciplic succession from other sages is simply a waste of time, being devoid of Katha, or the message of the infallible Lord. The mental speculators can present their theories very nicely by reason and arguments, but such reasons and arguments are not infallible because they are defeated by better mental speculators. Maharaj Parikshit was not interested in dry speculation of the flickering mind, but he was interested in the topics of the Lord because factually he felt that by hearing such a nectarine message from the mouth of Sukhdev Goswami, he was not feeling any exhaustion, even though he was fasting because of his imminent death. One can indulge in hearing the mental speculators, but such hearing cannot be prolonged for any length of time. One will be exhausted very soon by hearing such hackneyed ways of thinking, and no one in the world can be satisfied simply by hearing such useless speculations. The message of the Lord, especially from a personality like Sukadev Goswami, can never be tiring, even though one may be exhausted from other causes. In some editions of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the text of the last line of this verse reads, an, anat, anatra anyatra kupita dvijat, which means anyatra kupita dvijat, which means the king might be overwhelmed by the thought by the thought of his imminent death by snake bite. The snake is also twice born, and its anger is compared with the cursing Brahmana boy who was without good intelligence. Maharaj Parikshit was not at all afraid of death because of being fully encouraged by the message of the Lord. One who is fully absorbed in Achyut Katha can never be afraid of anything in this world.
But this means that the snake is also twice born.
Takshaka snake was twice born.
Yes, Prabhu, I was thinking, is it like that?
No. Text 27. Suta Uvacha स उपामन्त्रितो रज्ञा कथायम् इति सत्पथे ब्रह्मारतो भृशं पृत्रो विष्णुरातेन संसदि. Synonyms. Shri Suta Uvacha. Srila Suta Goswami said, Sah, he, Sukadev Goswami, Upa Mantritah, thus being inquired, Rajna, by the king, Kathayam, in the topics of, Iti, thus, Satpate, of the highest truth, Brahmarata, Sukadev Goswami, Brisham, very much, Pritha, pleased, Vishnu Ratena, Vishnu Ratena, yeah, by Maharaj Parikshit, Samsadi, in the meeting. Translation. Suta Goswami said, thus Sukadev Goswami, being invited by Maharaj Parikshit to speak on topics of the Lord Sri Krishna with the devotees, was very much pleased. Purport. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam can only be legitimately discussed among the devotees of the Lord. As the Bhagavad Gita was authoritatively discussed between Lord Krishna and Arjun, the Lord and the devotees, respectively. Similarly, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the postgraduate study of the Bhagavad Gita, can also be discussed between the scholars and devotees like Sukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. Otherwise, the real taste of the nectar cannot be relished. Sukadev Goswami was pleased with Sukhdev Goswami was pleased with Maharaj Parikshit because he was not at all tired of hearing the topics of the Lord, and he was more and more anxious to hear them on and on with interest. Foolish interpreters unnecessarily tackle the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam when they have no access to the subject matter. There is no use in non-devotees meddling with the two topmost Vedic literatures, and therefore Shankaracharya did not touch Srimad Bhagavatam for commentation. In his commentation on the Bhagavad Gita, Sripad Shankaracharya accepted Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but later on he commented from the impersonalist view. But being conscious of his position, he did not comment on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Sukdev Goswami was protected by Lord Krishna by Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and therefore he is known as Brahmarata, and Shriman Parikshit Maharaj was protected by Vishnu, and thus he is also known as Vishnurata. As devotees of the Lord, they are always protected by the Lord. It is clear also in this connection that a Vishnurata should hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Brahmarata and no one else, because others misinterpret the transcendental knowledge and thus spoil one's valuable time. Krishna. Anyone else want to read? There are last two verses are there. 28 and 29. I think then this chapter is finished.
Yes, Prabhu. One straight. Maybe Rushikesh Prabhu or Pranjal Prabhu or Shubham Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, can I read?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmana Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate. Synonyms. Praha, he said, Bhagavatam, the science of personality of Godhead. Nama, of the name Puranam, the supplement of the Vedas. Brahma Samhitam, just in pursuance of the Vedas. Brahmane, unto Lord Brahma. Bhagavat Proktam, was spoken by the personality of Godhead. Brahmakalpa, the millennium in which Brahma was first generated, Upagati, just in the beginning. Translation. He just began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit just by saying that the science of the personality of Godhead was spoken first by the Lord himself to Brahma when he was first born. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature and it is just in pursuance of the Vedas. Purport by Srimad Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Purport. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the science of personality of Godhead. The personalist always tries to misrepresent the personal feature of the Lord without knowing the science of this great knowledge. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is in pursuance of the Vedas and scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. To learn this science, one should take shelter of the representative of Sri Shukdev Goswami and follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Parikshit without foolishly attempting to interpret, thereby committing a great offense at the feet of the Lord. The dangerous ways of interpretations by the non-devotees class of men have played havoc in understanding Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and the careful student should always be alert in this matter if he at all wants to learn the science of Godhead. Yadiyat Parikshit Rishabha Pandunam Anupritchati Anupuryena Tatsarvam Akhyatum Upachakrame Yat whatsoever Parikshit the king, Rishabha the best Pandunam in the dynasty of Pandu, Anuprichati goes on inquiring, Anupuryena the beginning of to the end, that all those Sarvam fully Akhyatum to describe Upachakrame, he just prepared himself. Translation. He also prepared himself to reply to all that King Parikshit inquired from him. Maharaj Parikshit was the best in the dynasty of the Pandus, and thus he was able to ask the right questions from the right person. Purport. Maharaj Parikshit asked many questions. Some of them were curiously to know things as they are, but it is not necessary for the master to answer them in order of the disciples' inquiries, one after the other. But Shukdev Goswami, experienced teacher, that he was answered all the questions in a systematic way as they were received from the chain of disciplic succession, and he answered all of them without exception. This ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of second canto, 8th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam entitled Questions by King Parikshit.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad Pranam to all of you.
Hare Krishna, Shubham Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Okay, tomorrow we continue from the answers. Okay, now we sing the Damodarashtakam. Is this last week? How many days there is?
Up to November 5th, I think.
Yes, Prabhu. Oh, there's one more Ekadashi on this.
Right. November 5th or 6th. Let me see.
Yes, Prabhu, it's after 5th.
November 5th is Purnami. Yeah, it's November up to November 5th. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Oh, today is Gopashtami.
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's for us today. Sri Gadadhar Das Goswami disappearance, Dhananjaya Pandit disappearance, and Srinivas Acharya disappearance. What is this Jagadhatri Puja? Jagadhatri Puja. It says tomorrow. Oh,
No,
and on the
Gopashtami is on 20 and 30th, Prabhu.
oh, the calendar shows today for me. Yeah, it must be different for the according to the location.
What is the date now for you?
29.
No.
Yes, bro. We get the festival like before.
Jagaddatri Puja is nothing but the worship of Mother Durga,
Mhm.
particularly in Bengal.
Yes, Prabhu. On Ekadashi, it will be Gora Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj disappearance and first day of Bhishma Panchaka.
Gorkishodas Baba disappearance, yes.
Yes, it will be really nice Ekadashi because it's also Kartik, last Ekadashi of Kartik month.
When is Bhishma Panchaka?
First day,
First day.
November. It says it's the Ekadashi day.
Mhm. No, I can't find it on Ekadasi.
Yes, Prabhu. For me, it says Ekadashi.
Mm.
Okay, who wants to chant the first?
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले भ्राजमानं यशोदाभियोलोकलाब्धवमानं परं हृष्टमत्यन्ततो धृतिगोप्या
Rudantam muhunetra yugmam rijantam karam boja yugmena satankanetram muhusvasakam patri rekanka kanta stita graivam damodaram bhaktipadam.
इति दृक्ष्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषन्निमज्जन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम् तदीयेषितजज्ञेषु भक्तिर्जितत्वं पुनः पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सतावृत्तिवन्दे
परं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षाविधं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहं वरेष्यदभिहा इदं देवपूर्णाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्य अविरष्टं किमन्ये
Idam te mukham bojam atyanta nilaivritam kundalaisnigdharaktaischa gopya muhushchumbitam bimba raktadaram me manasha virashtam malam lakshalabai.
नमो देव दामोदरानन्द विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखदालाब्धिमग्नं कृपादृष्टिवृष्ट्या ते दीनं वतानं गृहाणेषु मामज्ञमिच्छिदृश्यम्
कुबेरात्मजो बद्धमूर्त्यैव यद्वत् त्वया मोचितो भक्ति भाजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकाम्ये प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेह।
नमोऽस्तेऽस्तु दाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने तदीयोदराय तवसहस्रनाम्ने नमो राधिकाय तदीयप्रियाय नमो नन्दनीलाय देयाय दौर्यम्।
Haribol, to the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her who run after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodara offer my humble obeisances.
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with three lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with ropes but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
Text 3. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees, whose pure love is imbued with the intimacy and is free from all conception of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodar hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the nine processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Balagopala in Vrindavana may ever be manifest in my heart, for what is the use to me of any other boon besides this?
O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me.
O Supreme Lord, I offer my obeisance unto you, O Damadara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord. Be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes.
O Lord Damodar, just as the two sons of Kuvera, Manigreva and Nalkuvera, were delivered from the curse of Narada and made unto great devotees by you in your form as a baby tied with a rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me your own Prema Bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation.
O Lord Damodara, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the universes. Abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. कामराष्ट्रम की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय
Jai.
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 चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादवाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् अनन्तं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नाम्ना मकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस् तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशं विहाजनि नानुरागः तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीयः सदा हरिः
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहेतुके त्वयि
हैनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवां बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय
नयनं गरदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदुदया गिरा पुलकैर्निजितं वपुः कदा तव नामग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविशायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे
आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पुनस्तु माम् अदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु कम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः
Haribo, glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up and when will the hairs of my body stand on the end at the recitation of name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a movement to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace and or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Haribol, Shri Siksastakam ki jai, Chaitanya
Jai.
Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Bahu janma kare adi shavana kirtan, tabutana paya Krishna pade premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature in pursuance of the Vedic version.
Fifth is to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination.
6. To give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
7th, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
8th is to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna, one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda.
9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
10th, not to have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema.
Let us offer respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like these are trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And the Gaudiya Vaishnava ki jai,
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai, Jai Gaurav Nande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much.